I'm officially starting this program called Straight Talk from the Street, where we get real citizens from the streets who know what's going on in the streets, how the streets work, and how certain projects could be implemented to stop certain crimes, which is it happening in the streets, not just crime, but economics, how we can build the black community up. Now, the first topic I would like to talk about is criminal justice. When I say criminal justice, I'm talking about how black men and men of color constantly get locked up. You have politicians who never speak of a solution. Where Straight Talk from the Streets is a solution based podcast. I would like to talk about solution. First solution, let's talk about stats. Last year, there was over 2.2 million people arrested. Out of that 2.2 million people arrested, 90% of them pleaded guilty, which leaves about 300,000 people who actually going to trial. Out of those 300,000 people who's going to trial, not 12% of them ask for a speedy trial. First thing, when you're arrested, you let the police know you do not consent to anything. That's your Fourth Amendment right. Your Fifth Amendment right, you do not want to say anything. You give them your name, and that's it. Give them your ID, period. Do not say anything to them. You give them your ID. At that point, you do not have to say anything else because your Fifth Amendment right says you do not have the right. I mean, you have the right to not incriminate yourself. Next thing you do, you let them know you were like a lawyer. You're not guilty. You're not pleading to anything. And once you speak with your lawyer, the final thing you like the lawyer to let your lawyer know, you are not guilty. You would like a speedy trial, which means 120 days. Your trial, your case should be over. There are people over in Cook County, over 10% of them has been there over 3 years. If they just ask for a speedy trial, that means, now here's the economic part. That means the county will have to hire more prosecutors. More prosecutors mean more public defenders. More public defenders mean more investigators, and so forth and so on and so on. And with this scenario, at that way, you start building an economic base. Now let's talk about the tax base. You can go community after community after community after community on the south and west side of Chicago and just see vacant lots. For every vacant lot you see, that is property tax being waste. Period. The majority of the lots that you see is owned by the city. So the city ain't paying property taxes to itself. This is one way of keeping our community down. Don't build nothing in the community. Don't give the land back to the people in the community. Because if you give the land back to the people in the community, that still is a tax base. Meaning whoever owns that land must pay taxes. That's not happening in our community in Chicago. It's just not happening. So if you get those communities, all this property, and all these vacant lots, I should say, which are owned by the city of Chicago, if you get these lots up and running with homes, businesses, even car, whatever you want to put on it, at that point, someone have to pay a tax. With those taxes, you can start at that point giving teachers more for their compensation for teaching our kids. We can start rebuilding schools. However, it is that simple, and no one wants to talk about this. Only thing everyone wants to say is lock my kids up. That's not going to happen. This is Cornell Owsley. This is the Owsley theorem, Owsley theory, which I have just spoken to you guys. Anyone else would like to know more about the Owsley theory, log on. Send me an email, I should say, at owsleyfam1@gmail.com. That's OUSLEYFAM, the number 1, at gmail.com. Hope to hear from you guys soon. See you later on Straight Talk from the Streets. Signing out, Cornell Owsley.